Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from the Act Computer Studios in Cape Coral, Florida, it's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
What's up, OG5? And we're back
and the rest of the world.
And we're back for the third Monday show. You know, I had a thought about that, and I was actually going to bring up last week when we had Vinny Torridge on the show, because he's not only does he have a podcast, but he has been on many of other people's radio shows and podcasts. But have you ever noticed, for example, we start off the show, I say, what's up, OG5? If you listen to your favorite podcast or radio show, usually the host has a way to start the show, and a lot of times it's some fast ramblings, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Do you ever wonder why?
Because they don't know what the F to say.
Not only that, but by doing it fast and hard, it kind of kickstarts it's kind of kickstarting a lawnmower, if you will. It just kind of kickstart your brain to feel like you're already in a conversation. So instead of trying to get something started, it's like kind of hurry up, get it started. So now we're here. Let's get going. Let's get on moving on with the show. And so it's
kind of like jumping in that old beater car on the hillside in Kentucky and that has no starter and just letting it rip, right?
Yeah, or in your case, the West Side Columbus. You know, your starter don't work. You're just pushing that clutch, popping the first gear, and you roll it down, and boom, you're up and going.
There you go. So I feel like garbage today.
Why? What's going on?
Especially an hour ago. Well, I think I'm getting the keto flu.
Oh, so you're, 4 days into it now?
3, technically.
How's that going with the family and everybody?
It's going all right.
You're not on a solo mission already, are you?
No, not on a solo mission. Almost was. Yesterday, we did cheat. I really wouldn't call it a cheat because we didn't have any carbs. But, we ended up
having some sugar.
We were struggling. I was like, man, is this ludicrous? Is this just insane to jump right into? But we stayed under 20 grams of carbs yesterday and under 6 grams of sugar, which I think is good enough. Today, I've had less than that, and it was just in the if we did the show an hour ago, I would be an effing mess.
What'd you do?
Headache,
Down some
everything.
coffee?
We had no. If I have any more coffee, I'm just going to be a sketchy outline. No, we actually had dinner. So I made some pasta, but the pasta was not pasta. It was zucchini that we zoodled up real quick. I had some leftover chicken I prepped yesterday, cooked a whole pound of bacon, started nibbling on that. And I had 2 pieces, and so did Katina. Before we ate, she goes, you know what? I'm not even that hungry now. I'm like, see? That's why we got this whole pound of bacon. You nibble on that throughout the day, you should be good to go.
Yeah, and that's one of the things Vinny says all the time is, the problem with fat is it has the word fat in it, but if you actually consume the proper fats, and one of the examples he uses is putting a slab of real butter in your coffee in the morning, it's actually the fat in that butter will keep your stomach satiated because it's actually got something to consume, and it'll prevent you from wanting to eat the snacks and the salty shit.
And it wasn't a hard jump for me with the butter because I've been eating the grass-fed Irish imported butter for the last 10 years. So I may try that little slab in the coffee. I think it may be a little weird tasting. I do have some whole whipping cream too, though. So I may use that.
You got to be a little careful with the Irish butter because I accidentally bought some when I went to my living history event, but I accidentally grabbed the garlic butter. And garlic butter pancakes from a cast iron tin does not taste good. And so, yeah, be very, very careful.
I didn't even know they had
your Carrie's butter. Yeah, they have I think it primarily comes in the stick format. But yes, they do have the garlic butter.
Let me guess, it was in a tub?
No, it's in the stick form. That's the other thing I noticed. See, growing up in Kentucky and Ohio and being a country crock kid.
Or blue bonnet.
I can't believe it. Basically, here's what I've learned after you sent me out to buy this Carrie Gold butter, which is all I use now. If you want to know...
Hey, watch out, it's like crack, dude.
Well, if you want to know if it's real butter or margarine, you don't even have to read the label. The answer is does it come in a big-ass bucket or a little tiny tub for $4? Butter's too expensive to put in that big-ass 1.5-gallon pail like the Country Crock and the Can't Believe It's Not Butter or the Blue Bonnet. So if you're buying something that's as large as a dog food bowl, that's margarine and not butter. If it's like this big and you have enough for 3 meals, that's real butter. It's so
Yes,
damn
it
expensive
is.
and it's so tiny, but if you're wanting to eat real butter, that's what you got to do. Thank you for
According
joining
to
in for
Morgan
Hot
Long,
Butter
he
Talk.
likes- Morgan Long likes the Kerrygold in the coffee. Says it's pretty good. Now, that being said, even though I'm off the carbs, if you haven't made grilled cheese sandwich with that yet, you need to. It may cause a new bad habit, though.
What kind of cheese are you using?
I use a cheddar. Sometimes I'll use a Gruyere. Now I sound all fancy. Actually, that's Swiss. Swiss cheese. Sometimes I mix it up, you know. Sometimes I'll throw a little ham in there. Now I'm making. No, I can't talk about this anymore. There's bread.
Well,
So,
back when you were allowed to have the breads, and here's why I ask, is because Nugget, ever since she came to live with us, we've introduced her to more, real cheeses. And she's obsessed with Colby Jack, which is fine.
we do have plenty of that.
But she wants to use it on a grilled cheese sandwich. Not that the flavor's bad, but the problem I have is when I make a grilled cheese sandwich, I want a gooey grilled cheese fucking sandwich. And nothing melts better than that fake, oily, non-real cheese, Kraft yellow shit. When you go get the Boar's Head cheese, whether it's cheddar, pepper jack, whatever, it doesn't melt. It's like a solid slab of hot cheese in there. So I don't get the melt gooey crap like you get with the artificial cheese like Kraft.
I tell you what, try some Gruyere, and the reason I say that is the predominant cheese, I believe, in fondue,
Okay.
which is those melted pots.
Sure.
That may sound like the ultimate no sugar, no grain meal right there.
Perhaps.
Fondue with meat.
I didn't think we'd be kicking off the show with hot cheese talk. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, it's better what else I got in my fucking head today. So
Well, why
I did go hiking yesterday.
Well, hold on. Before we get to hiking, just because we're on a food topic, and I just saw for the second or third time, have you seen the new Uber Eats campaign for TV with Luke Skywalker and Captain Jean-Luc Picard as they play air hockey?
Vaguely, but not enough to remember.
So basically,
Sounds horrible.
their whole new thing is tonight I eat ... because they bring you food from different places. And so they're playing air hockey, and Luke Skywalker saying, tonight I eat Gruyere cheese, grilled cheese, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I think what they're trying to do is get a social media footprint, right?
Right.
But you're cynical just like I am, and you're probably already thinking the same thing I did. This is a bad idea for a campaign, and all you're going to do is give people a vehicle to point out how bad the service is. When I worked in radio and I couldn't leave, I would order Uber Eats, and it would take 45 minutes to get a hot dog from the joint that's 2.5 minutes down the road. So
And was the order correct?
well, all they sold was hot dogs, so yes. But Panera Bread, I'd order there. What I'm getting to is all you're going to start getting is people hashtagging on Instagram and Twitter, tonight I eat a 45-minute-old soggy-ass hamburger from McDonald's, or tonight I eat a half-empty box of French fries that didn't show up. It's just it's opening up, it's giving people a vehicle to complain about how bad the service is and how long it takes to get that food.
Yes.
What the hell was
What the
that?
hell was that?
I don't know.
It was a whistle.
Yeah, that was a
I
whistle.
heard a whistle.
I heard a whistle,
Can't
too.
be from my side. You can't hear anything from my side
don't know.
of my lousy voice. Huh.
I don't know what the whistle was. I definitely heard a
But-
whistle.
So we were supposed to go hiking.
You have nothing about that? You don't have anything to contribute to my Uber Eats campaign slogan? You just got to pass that? That must have been a bad topic.
I think
it
everybody
must have fell
understands
flat,
how
so-
bad Uber Eats and any of these delivery
I know, but
services
when
can
you
be.
when you're launching this as your new campaign ad is ... tonight I'm going to eat, you don't even think that this is going to come up, that your whole Instagram feed and Twitter chain is just going to be people bad mouthing you because their shit's always late and cold and half eaten into.
Well, that's almost any ad campaign, isn't it?
I guess
I actually care so little about Uber Eats and
that's
that.
because you don't use it. I don't use it now that I'm in a position that I'm not sequestered in a building for 4 hours. But
That's-
a lot of times, if you're on a job where you can't leave, then you have no choice. And Grubhub's not any better.
DoorDash is probably about the same.
They're
it's
all the same.
It's all the same people. The same drivers, I think, drive for multiple, just like Uber. You'll get an Uber driver, and he's also got the Lyft sticker in his car, right? I think it's the same thing. I think it is a select sect of people.
Which kind of goes back to my previous topic a few episodes back when we saw the, first it was Carvana, now there's Vroom, and there's 38 different ones. It's like, I understand competition is good, but how many bad services do we need providing the same thing? So we had Uber Eats and then DoorDash, and then I think Bite Squad was the first one ever. I think it was Bite Squad and then Uber Eats.
Postmates.
And DoorDash and then Postmates. It's like, how many do we need? Especially when it's obviously the same people doing the damn delivery.
Well, maybe with Carvana and everything else, they'll be so oversaturated that it'll have to force a certain level up to a certain point, and then the week just fall off.
Yeah, or maybe
That's all we can hope for.
it'll make the traditional car lots more competitive when it comes to their pricing. But when you're giving salesmen, let's face it, a commission is essentially profit sharing, right? Because the price of the commission comes out of the car they sell, and that's why they try not to let you talk them down too much, because the more you talk them down, the less commission they make. So they really can't lower the price too much, because then that's going to cut down on the salesman's commission, and at some point they're just going to be paying these guys hourly, and they're not going to do the work.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned the commission thing. The place that we get our vehicles from advertised that they are not on commission, but they want to get a very good review because it affects a bonus, which is commission. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is you will see that sticker price on the most recent vehicle we purchased almost a year ago. Sticker price said this: fantastic. Sit down. We're going through it. We got our trade-in, which is down payment. We thought this would whittle the payment down. They're like, well, do you want the protection plate? It's a ceramic coating and inside and out. Well, not on the inside, but it protects everything. Well, we don't want it. Well, the car kind of comes with it already.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, man, list it. Nothing pisses me off more than if that shit's not listed on the sticker.
It's funny you say that, because I just went back and watched Fargo in its entirety for the first time. The movie, not the TV show. And that was one of the scams they were pulling on that in the movie. He was like, well, it's already included in the car. You got to pay for it. It's like, I told you that this is the price that I can afford, and now you're pulling this crap on me.
But now that you brought up Fargo, this is actually on my list.
Well,
right here.
While we're still on the food topic and the transition of why do we need so many different services, and I like to stand by my reviews, and if I provide you guys with a good review and then things go south, I feel it's my duty to tell y'all.
Something go south?
Well, remember back a long time ago, before the wind?
Before the snow?
There lived the man I know.
A freak of nature?
Named Sir Psycho.
Yeah.
Sir Psycho Sexy, that is me sometimes. Anyhow, before the COVID, right when COVID started is when we started using EveryPlate. And it was great. Food was coming in fresh, coming in these boxes, comes with these reusable freezer packs that I have since used on my reenacting. I put them in my cooler, turns my $40 Igloo cooler into almost the same quality as a more expensive one. We've been eating literally... And I know I don't try to use that phrase a lot, but since COVID has started, 6, 7, how many months has it been now? 8, 7 months?
I've lost count.
Well, it's October now. It started in March, so 10 minus what? 2? No, minus 3.
About
so 7.5
7.5
months. So for 7.5 months, 6 days a week, I've been eating meals and cooking meals from EveryPlate. And it's great. We've learned how to cook. We've learned how easy it is to actually cook good meals. I really believe it helps with our maintaining our weight. Things are purling along. We did the review on the YouTube channel. I came on here, told you guys how it's great. But so for the first 5-6 months, gravy train with biscuit wheels, man, purling along. And then one day it happened.
When did those biscuits crumble?
It was they got stale before they crumbled.
Oh, really?
It started minor. Started a lot of EveryPlate, and going back to what we're saying about Uber Lyft, EveryPlate is actually the same company as HelloFresh. It's just cheaper, and they have less food menu items. So
you got the dollar store version.
Yeah, and it's still expensive. But not to digress, but have you noticed the fucking grocery stores have gotten so expensive now? I'll go to Publix.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know Publix has always been expensive.
Well, it don't matter, but you go to a grocery store, you buy a thing of Gatorade, a 12-pack of Diet Coke. The other day I bought a pound and a half of hamburger, tortillas, some tomatoes, taco mix, a thing of Gatorade, and a thing of soda for Carrie. And I walked out, and one other item, and I think I walked out there for like $55.
That will be half your paycheck, please.
Mm-hmm. And here's why I'm making tacos now instead of eating from every plate. It first started off where they forgot to send us some ingredients. Not a big deal. This is
It happens.
an ingredient that's available locally. So I went down and replenished the ingredients. Very next box, our zucchini was super soft. Usually these meals, you either oven bake some chopped up carrots, some zucchini of some sort, or potatoes. A lot of starches, a lot of carbs, I know. But anyhow, start getting soft zucchini. Okay.
Nobody likes a soft zucchini.
And then soft potatoes start coming in.
That's what she said.
Like, what the okay, fine. So we sent them a message. Hey, man, what's the deal? First, you guys forget some ingredients. Now we're getting soft vegetables and soft potatoes. All are bad. Let us make it up to you. We'll send you a free box. Okay, sweet. That's like $100-something value. They sent it to us. The chicken's fucking missing. If you watch one of my latest YouTube videos, you'll see like the day after I get back from my reenactment video, all my feet are jacked up from having calluses on. I'm stumbling through Publix, dropping $8 on chicken because they forgot to send us our chicken.
Yeah, see, they ain't gonna miss this chicken. I'll just put it in my car.
So we sent them another chat. Hey, got the free box. Thank you so much. Forgot to send us our chicken. No, I'm sorry. They didn't forget to. Yeah, they forgot to send us the chicken. Okay, we apologize. Can't do it this week. Your next box already come out, but the following week we'll send you another free box. Okay, great. So we paid for the following week. Had two recipes that had, you know what ponzu or panzu sauce is? Ponzu sauce?
I love ponzu sauce. It's nice and spicy.
What is it?
It is a Japanese soy sauce. It's got some chilies and stuff in it.
You know why I don't know what it is?
Because you've never had it.
I had two meals in the same box that required ponzu sauce.
Oh, ponzu sauce.
And that's not something you just walk down to Publix and pick up. So two meals.
Man.
They sent me barbecue sauce instead.
God damn it, Timmy. You had one job.
They didn't like send me an amended recipe card saying, sorry, we're out of ponzu sauce, but if you mix this barbecue sauce with this, this, and this. So, okay, now that's two meals. It's missing the ingredients. And the big kick in the dick, the chicken. Now, once again, the beef, the pork, and the chicken. One complaint.
Dick and chicken in the same sentence.
One complaint I have, they don't have clear expiration dates written on this shit. But I guess they figure you're going to eat it right away anyhow because you're supposed to be eating this shit this week, which is fine. But apparently, the chicken is in perforated packs. I guess at the distribution center, you know, it's just and you tear them off, whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The fucking pack was ripped, and all the chicken grease dribbled all over the other frozen foods that are packaged. Luckily, they put the vegetables in a cardboard box on top. But here we have a pack of chicken that's been drained out. So now that's another. Long story short, we're canceling the service. Because, and I told Carrie, it's not the company's fault. Clearly, they have a disgruntled employee or a burnt-out employee down at the distribution center. The local fulfillment center. And obviously, this stuff's done locally. You know, and they're not packing this shit up from California and overnighting it. It's supposed to be fresh. Maybe it's come from Kentucky, Georgia, who knows. But there is a East Coast fulfillment center where clearly someone's burnt out on their job. They're just clocking in, throwing shit in a box for 8 hours and then leaving, right?
And Wanda didn't put her inspection sticker on the back side of it.
But back to what we're saying about Uber and Lyft being the same damn company, or, well, different company, same drivers.
Mm-hmm.
If they're the sister company of HelloFresh, isn't it safe to say they're probably going to use the same fulfillment center?
Oh, absolutely.
Which means I'm going to have probably the same damn disgruntled employee sending me the same nasty-ass food and open chicken packs?
I figured it out. That was the non-union side.
Oh, okay. That's what it was?
So speaking of that, you actually just triggered something in me that I have noticed.
Do we need a trigger warning? I don't know if we have any trigger warnings.
No. It's triggered with me. It's the truth. It's not going to upset anybody. Except for maybe the producers of the world. And there you go.
Now that everybody's dogs are going crazy.
I have noticed, since this great fiasco has been going on this year, that produce looks like fucking garbage at the store and isn't holding it as long.
I don't know how long this dude's going to have his job. There's a cat on TikTok who works at Walmart who's had enough, and he's showing you all the secrets of Walmart. He works in the vegetable and produce aisle, and his latest video says whenever we get a thing of raspberries and there's one with mold, we're told just to pull the one out with mold, the box back out on there. Like, so
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, we get from the big box store, the parent store of Walmart. We'll buy some, and even Costco. I'll even say
you talking about the Club of Sam?
Yeah, the club. Well, Sam's Club and Costco. We'll get produce. We'll get lettuce. It'll say the dude it's going to be done in about hey, you got 2 weeks to eat this. Great. 2 days in, the shit is turning fucking brown.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly their dating is off.
Mm-hmm.
The shit they're pulling is not fresh as it's supposed to be.
Or the date was correct when it was sent to them, but it sat in a trailer out in the parking lot for fucking 2 weeks, and now it's behind.
Very could be.
Very could be.
Sorry. Yes, very much could. You're on point.
Quite
My brain
possibly.
just fucking. I got the blue screen of death in my head. Hold on just a
Morgan
second.
Long's giving me props on my new hat. Thank you. I like that. I will say.
What is FSM?
I wasn't very sure at first either. I had to Google what the fuck it meant. I'm a big fan of the show Roadkill, right?
Okay.
You ever watch Roadkill?
No.
It's very 19.
I know what it is. I've seen
It's very
some
like
things.
1990s skateboard video esque like antics because they're our age. But you have
our world,
Freiberger
though.
and Finnegan, right? And Freiberger used to be like the editor in chief of Hot Rod Magazine
Okay.
or Auto Trend Magazine. Anyhow, him and Finnegan, they started this YouTube channel a while back. They'd just go out and buy these beater ass cars, right? And then they'd fix them up on the spot, and they would try to drive somewhere, very skateboard esque, very. And so they have this show called Roadkill and do all these crazy things. 3 episodes back, they were actually in Mom's town. They actually drove. They bought a shitty car in every state. They would trade up for a less shitty car, and they ended up going to the hotel in Indiana across the river from Mom's house because
Okay.
they were actually going to an event at the NASCAR place. And I started noticing Finnegan wearing this hat. And then they have another show called Faster with Finnegan that just came out recently where he'll go buy a piece of shit car. He'll take it down to a drag strip or to a local racetrack. He'll do some hot laps, see what he's currently getting in at, and then he'll take 3 days. And the whole goal is to buy items that everyday garage mechanics can afford. I'm sponsored, so I'm going to get 20 grand worth of shit and pop it in here in a day. Usually it's a turbocharger and maybe a semi-expensive intake manifold or something, or they'll pull all the weight out. Like they did like a 99 S10 or S1500, but anyhow, and so what they'll do is they'll take 3 days, cut weight, do cost-effective performance upgrades, and then go out and try to lay down faster, hence the name Faster with Finnegan. But anyhow, FSN stands for Finnegan Speed and Marine. It's his mechanic shop and his new clothing line. So I was watching Faster with Finnegan the other night, and so I hopped on his website and bought a hat, and they charged me for 2, but I sent them a message saying, hey, your website charged me. So they promptly refunded me for the second one, which not their fault. So yeah, this is my Finnegan Speed Marine hat.
I tell you what, speaking of Finnegan's, look up if you got a chance, hell, you can play it on this. Look up Finnegan's Wake by Darby O'Gill. It is effing
What's
hilarious.
a wake? That's a position we've all seen her many times before. Now that's come up on my running Pandora. Nothing like running along. And I would play it on here, but Facebook will mute the audio, not just the background music, but our audio. But no, that's a great song. And it's actually a cover song, but I think I know the one you're talking about. It almost seems like they're like doing it live.
They are, and they have something about squirrels too, the whole Darby O'Gill band. And they actually did a song that reminded me of There Was a Hole, except There Was a Bog. And it goes all the way up through the tree.
Talking about Rattling Bog?
Count back down.
Oh,
yeah, the Rattling Bog. Well, you remember? Yeah, you remember the song we grew up to with the hole in the ground?
Yes, that's because it was a ripoff of Rattling Bog. Going back to 2003, Authority Zero.
Okay.
They have a live version of that Rattling Bog, and it's so goddamn fast. It's actually the first time I actually heard it was on an Authority Zero track. But I know the one you're talking about because once again, it comes up primarily when I listen to my Dropkick Murphys line. But I digress. You went on a hike, sir.
Just a small hike.
Trying to get the show back on course. Talking about cheese and Finnegan's but anyhow.
Wakes and bogs.
What's a wake?
So we were going to go hiking up at Mount Charleston this weekend. Unfortunately, Katina had some weird shit going on with her back. And I said, well, here's the deal. I'm not getting out of hiking. So we got these abandoned mines behind us that has been since filled in the last 2 years. And there are a ton of trails. So I did a quick, almost 2 mile hike. I think it was 1.8. But it told me how out of shape I was, number one. Because that climbing that 340 vertical feet, which is higher than what is that? Mad River Mountain. It about kicked my ass. And I got up there, came back down. That was fantastic. So I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this one at least once a week.
Yep.
Instead of this flatland. Because the flatland shit ain't cutting it.
No, it's not.
And it's getting my heart rate up to where it needed to be.
And you want something that's hard because you want a challenge. And there's something that you'll find that's rewarding about something I like to quote on Instagram, which is kicking your own ass.
I used to do it all the time in Big Sky with hiking.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons I want to go up to Mount Charleston is you're starting out at 8,000 feet.
Yeah. Not only are you going incline, but you're the oxygen's thinner, right?
Exactly. So we'll probably hike this weekend locally. Then I've got my other leg procedure on Monday. I've actually got a 4-day weekend because of it, because I figured I'd take some time off. And then after that 2 weeks, I can be back on track to do everything else. But needless to say, I think those 4 days I'm going to be off. I noticed sitting around the house yesterday.
If it was needless to say, why did you say it?
I'm going to say it anyway because it's needless to say.
Okay.
I'm going to say it. The hardest part about going into this change in the way we eat is when you're sitting around the house.
Mm-hmm. Boredom.
So I've been eating the F out of walnuts.
Yeah. You called me today. You're like, what are you eating? I was eating pistachios. It's funny you say that because I was having a thought the other day because I ran 10. My last 2 runs, I did a 10K instead of a 5K because, once again, I run so many 3-mile runs. It's I don't want to say easy, but it's normal for me.
Not as challenging?
Yep. But kind of what you were just saying, and we're all familiar with, you're just saying the hardest thing is sitting around. And there's the old saying, idle hands is the devil's playground. Right?
For the fat guy's delight.
Well, idle hands is the devil's playground.
Yeah, I know.
So if your hands are idle, okay, well, what's worse than idle hands? Sitting around doing absolutely nothing. So I was having this weird thought when I was driving home after running. Well, if idle hands is the devil's playground and idle body is the devil's obstacle course, I mean, just between eating and just sitting around smoking and drinking and just doing all kinds of shit, if the idle body is the devil's obstacle course because he's just going to have fun with you and just fucking destroy you. Have you ever wondered what's in those coal mines or those gold mines?
I was able to go to those mines before they closed them up. What they were was in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm. Silver.
They're old gypsum mines.
There's a YouTube channel I watch. I found him through TikTok, believe it or not. It's called Ghost Town Living or Abandoned Ghost Town Living. This guy, him and his partner, turns out you can buy land for cheap if no one wants to live there. And
we got a lot of it.
And him and his business partner, they bought this town of Cerro Gordo in California. It was the largest and the first silver mine in California. It all going back to like the late 1800s. And so they bought all 500 acres. And the cool thing about it is it's 500 acres surrounded by BLM land. No, not Black Lives Matter, but Bureau of Land Management. So their 500 acres is surrounded by just thousands of, state-owned property that won't be developed. And he lives in, and they have no running water. And they still have the original mine shaft elevator since the 1800s, but apparently by state law, the only person who can operate it is a certified mine elevator operator. So he actually has to pay somebody to come out to lower him down. And he went down to like the 200th level where they used to have basically the town used to have water from the spring at this 200 level, which he's trying to get back up and running. But anyhow, he's constantly finding old Hercules dynamite boxes, melted down dynamite. He's got to watch where he's walking. It's pretty cool. So check it out. On he's of course he's looking for Levi's pants, which he never finds, but he did find some cool jackets and shit down there. But yeah, one night he actually had the elevator operator come out, send him down there at 7:00 at night, and leave. So he was down 200 feet in the mines overnight for 13 hours. It's pretty crazy, but check that out on YouTube.
So you brought up watching the movie Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched the TV series Fargo?
No, I know you were into it, and I was bored the other night, and nothing was on TV, and I was just going through Netflix, and it came up, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever sat and watched this movie in its entirety, and I know it's supposed to be good, and I didn't realize it was based loosely on a true story.
That was not. They just say that.
Really, at the beginning? So when they say
Yeah.
it's...
Every episode, so every series has done that. Now, this is the 4th season, and it's been 2 years since they had the 3rd season. What it is an anthology season. So
Different storylines? Okay.
The only thing that's really bumping me, there's 2 things. Is one, instead of being in Minnesota or North Dakota, it's now Kansas City, Missouri.
Why? And it's still called
And,
Fargo?
well, they do connect. They do talk about the KC mob a lot and the other ones. And it's in 1950. There's only one person with the whimsical accent. Can't have Fargo without,
Well, you can't have Fargo if it
What
takes
can they
place in
do in the
goddamn
Fargo?
Kansas City.
Oh, wait, that's Irish. Yeah. So, Chris Rock's in it.
Okay.
He plays a mobster. Does a good job. But I'm really having, maybe it's my mindset this year, but I'm just having a hard time getting into it. Now, the lady with the Fargoese or Minnesotan accent, she's weird. Oh my God, is she weird? And she plays a nurse, and that's about as far as I'll go. But I am really struggling with it, and I love the Fargo series. So,
Well, after a while, it's just like...
well, it's not the same thing. It's complete. It's so far different
Yeah.
that it's like...
I don't know. Sometimes it sucks when a show ends
City.
early, but sometimes it's good when it ends early. I think they should have killed fucking Walking Dead off 4 seasons ago, but that's just me.
I can see why you think that, because Negan did chase off a lot of their fan base, but it actually recovers itself quite well.
See, the thing for me, it wasn't the character of Negan. It was the horrible writing. We need Negan dead. Okay, well, there's 5
They've
different
changed
episodes
the
where you motherfuckers were in the same room with him with a gun, but instead of shooting him, I had to go on a fucking 10-minute diatribe, and then all of a sudden you were captured. It's like, no, just knock it off.
Well, you should probably hop back into it. They've changed the showrunners and the writers, so they recapture some of that.
Yeah.
We're actually watching World Beyond now also.
The kids version? I saw the previews for that the other day.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's an interesting take. And you can see where that's going to connect with Fear pretty good.
What about
And
Dexter
even The
coming
Walking
back?
Dead.
How do you feel about that?
What's that?
They're bringing Dexter back.
Well, I guess we'll find out what he does as a lumberjack or shortly thereafter. I think they
He's a
needed to bring
lumberjack,
Dexter
and
back.
that's
I'm actually
okay.
excited,
He
but I'm
drinks all
also
night and he
nervous
works
that they're going to
all
fuck
day.
it
He
up.
skips and he jumps and he chops down trees. He likes to press wildflowers.
And it's only going to be for 10 episodes.
He
I
dresses
believe.
up in women's clothing and hangs around in bars.
I'm a lumberjack, but that's okay.
I already sang the whole song, but you weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
That's all
I
right.
was paying attention, but I was kicking back to the chorus. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. So I got a
what do you think of
call
them
the other
bringing
day.
it
What's that?
What do you think of them bringing it back?
I don't know. It's going to be weird if they're back to what you're saying about him being a lumberjack. I think if they try to bring it back post season, the original series, where the fuck are you going to go with it? I think if they kind of pull some time lapse, hey, this happened in between season 1 and season 3, something like that, where all the characters are all alive, and they just something like that may work, or a prequel to it. But to pick up where everybody's freaking dead and he's a lumberjack, I don't know.
I saw one of your buddies do a whole photo montage.
Mm-hmm. Morgan Moose,
Got the same name,
Yep.
sort of.
I didn't have the heart to pull out. I didn't have the heart to point out that his shirt was the wrong color.
Was it supposed to be green, like a green helmet?
Yeah, it's like an OD green.
There you go.
But hey, the photo still turned out great. So I got a
It
call.
did, actually.
I got a call the other day.
Mhm.
I guess I'll just put this out there because in order to tell the story, I got to be authentic about it. And the woman did have an accent.
No boy.
And so
Hi, my name is Tom McDonald. Welcome to the show. If you are easily offended, then you
probably should go. So when you call Act Computers at 239-283-1120, that's right, this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast is brought to you by our friends at Act Computers. Act Computers has been providing IT solutions for all of Southwest Florida since 2004. So if you live in the area and need your network expanded, cameras installed, computers that are broken fixed, laptops that are broken fixed, you need to upgrade your outdated serial drive to a new solid state drive to get better performance, we can help you out. Give them a call at 239-283-1120 if you need a two-form authentication, even if you're outside of the state. You need online backups, or antivirus, give them a call at 239-283-1120. And as always, even if you live out of the state or out of the city, and as long as you have internet connection, we can help you. Give us a call at 239-283-1120. We'll just log in remotely and help you with all your computer problems. But whenever you call 239-283-1120, it just forwards to my cell phone because, well, I'm always out working on people's stuff. I'm never at my office. And so the phone rings as it always does. And since, when you have the same phone number since 2004 and it's 2020 and most of your real clients just text you, most of my communication is via text. Oh, I don't know, 98.7% of the phone calls that come to my cell phone are all spam calls. I've contemplated about getting rid of the phone number, but Dad says no, so fine. So I answer the phone. Can you get manager? Huh? Can I get manager? Sure, if you want to get the manager, go ahead. No, can I get your manager? Chick.
Speaking.
Asian chick. What are you trying to sell? We noticed you don't have very good Google listing. My Google listing's fine. Long story short, we want to sell you our services to help you get better Google listing so you can get customers. Well, I'm a bit of a dick, see? And I've had this problem too with other companies call me up, or I get emails from marketing companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pay for our services and we can help you get more customers. I have a different reply to the email marketing as I do the phone marketing, but I said to this lady, let me get this right. You want to sell me your services that'll increase my Google reviews and get me better customers, more customers. Yes, that's right. I said, well, you being a marketing firm, why don't I just use the example you presented to me? Instead of paying for your services to get a better Google review, why don't I pay a service that does telemarketing? Because apparently that's how you get your business. If your mode of getting, if you're trying to tell me that you're in a business by getting more customers strictly through better Google searches, but you generate your business through cold calling, why wouldn't I just rely to, clearly cold calling is the way to work. And it's in, I get these emails, hey, pay for our, we're a marketing company and we can help you generate hundreds and thousands of clients. Well, apparently all I got to do is spam email because that's, my point is if you're in marketing and you trying to sell a service doing X, why do you use Z as your way to get customers? Why wouldn't I just use Z? Because apparently that's the way to work if the marketing companies are using Z, but you're trying to sell X. It makes no sense. Clearly X doesn't work. Z is the way to go. Exactly.
Do you find they're finding a way to run that scam shield real quick?
Yeah, they spoof local phone numbers. They all come from 239 numbers. And so that gets around the, and since it forwards to my phone, oftentimes it gets past the T-Mobile scam likely. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just annoying as all get out. A lot of times when they call me, I'll just start asking them how their computer's working. Huh? Well, you called a computer company. I just assume you need a computer. I find with a lot of people, because a lot of them are just people just trying to find jobs. And they're new to the business, and because I've done telemarketing in the past, I probably put in 3-4 years doing different types of phone support. I'm pretty good on a phone, and so what I like to do if I don't have anything going on or I'm driving is I usually just take control of the conversation and just steer in a completely different direction. Like, huh? What? Yeah.
Do they eventually hang up on you?
Yeah, a lot of times they do, which is no fun.
Yeah. Sir, why are you wasting my time? Well, you called my number.
Mm-hmm.
That I pay for. But why are you wasting my time?
Yep.
I just answered your question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's insane. I keep getting calls about my iCloud account's been compromised, which is kind of funny.
I love that. I love that. That means that the scammers are going after the Apple folk now, too.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah.
Sure.
How does my iCloud account get compromised when I don't have one?
Yeah, especially since I've never owned an Apple product. But what are you going to do?
Where are you calling from?
Yep. Yep. Uh-huh. COVID has been affecting all of us in different ways. Have you noticed, well, I know you're all in SNG now, but prior to that, have you noticed, a lot of the sodas and beers are, hard to find?
No.
Well, they were.
Sorry to shit on your point.
No, Carrie drinks Diet Coke, and for a long time, you couldn't find Diet Coke anywhere. Because apparently, with COVID, there's an aluminum shortage.
I have not heard that one.
Yeah, there's actually aluminum can shortage, and I thought we read about a few weeks back, but apparently because with COVID, he got shut down. The employees not showing up to the aluminum can making plant. So, 10 beverages vanishing from grocery stores this year. From coins to pepperoni, this year has brought many unexpected shortages at the grocery store. But it's the lack of aluminum cans that has had the biggest ripple effect across the food and beverage industry. Because Americans have been consuming their favorite canned drinks at home more than ever, soda and beer makers have been struggling to meet the demands for the standard 12-ounce cans for their product.
It's a good problem to have.
The shortage put an added pressure on the already struggling supply chain of many companies like Coca-Cola have to prioritize the production of their best sellers while their more niche products fall by the wayside. The following beverages have either been discontinued altogether or are missing from the grocery store shelves for months. As we said, local beers, number one. Some local breweries have been affected by the aluminum can shortage due to the big guys. Basically, the bigger companies can afford to pay more for the cans, and so the aluminum can companies are going to service your Coca-Colas before they are the little mom-and-pop niche IPA companies. Coke Zero Cherry flavored. Consumers started noticing the shortage of certain Coca-Cola products in July. Soon, the company chimed in on social media, acknowledging that some of their beverages are going to be in short supply this year. Cherry Coke Zero was one of them, and it is more of a niche product that the company likely chose not to prioritize due to the limited production capacity. Pib Extra. Remember, you ever had Pib Extra?
No, I don't like Pib.
What about Mr. Pibb? It's all the same thing. It's their cherry flavored. Cherry flavored lovers are truly out of luck this year because Pib Extra, another cherry flavored soda that has been MIA on the market for months, while some consider it a relic. It originated in the 1970s under the name of Mr. Pibb, Coca-Cola's answer to Dr. Pepper, the vintage beverage still enjoyed by many loyal fan base, but right now is going by the wayside. This one kind of surprised me because especially with this season's The Boys. On this season's The Boys, they kind of take a swing at Scientology. And what's their preferred beverage of choice?
I can't.
Fresca! An iconic soda with a unique, fresh, citrusy flavor has been difficult to find in the grocery shelves. In fact, even TV host Andy Cohen recently aired his frustrations about the shortage of Fresca on his New York City grocery stores.
Faygo. Did Faygo make that list?
Nope, because Faygo has always been in bottles. More often than not, they're in plastic bottles.
Which is interesting because one thing we are seeing in the industry I am in, because of the hurricanes and everything else, is PVC shortage. PVC is everywhere. It's causing our piping to spike. Lead times go through the roof. Meaning, does that trickle down to plastic bottles and whatnot?
Number 5, vanilla Coke. Number 6, caffeine-free Coke. If you're a fan of the Coke, but not the jitters, you probably... Well, our Melody, God rest her soul, she used to drink the caffeine-free Coke because caffeine would have a negative effect on her body. Dr. Pepper sodas. Coca-Cola isn't the only beverage giant affected by the can shortage. Dr. Pepper recently acknowledged on Twitter that their products are currently harder to find in stores. Quote, "We're working on it. Hang tight." Number 8, Minute Maid Zero. So they're eliminated with zero sugar. Odwalla. You know what the hell Odwalla is?
Yes, I do.
Odwalla smoothies have been discontinued this year, and retailers have stopped receiving new shipments of the product in July. Stores have likely been cleared out of the remaining inventory by now, so finding the bottled Odwalla is near impossible. And another one, Zico coconut water. Zico coconut water is another product that has been slated for retirement, which makes no sense because the pictures they're showing, they're in cardboard jugs, like orange juice. So I don't know.
So talking about beverages, before I went on this keto-style diet, I was drinking these cans of Black Rifle ice, and I know you don't like the cold ones, but the cold coffee mochas. Well, then I went to a different store that's out of Utah, and I think that they would have it, but they didn't. So I ended up getting the Hipster Bucks variant of it. And that tasted weird and chemical compared to the Black Rifle. It just had an odd taste.
Yeah.
So I definitely could tell the difference. I was like, this tastes like
swill.
Garbage.
That's all the oil in there. if you ever buy some of the high end, not coffee because they're not coffees, but like their bougie drinks, like the Grande White Mocha Hot with an extra shot, for example, and you let it sit, it will separate. It's pretty fucking gross. So yeah. So here in Cape Coral, because we live in a swamp and we don't have any sewer systems, well,
You don't
yet-
have a lot of coral around there?
No, it's out in the water somewhere.
Odd. Don't worry, I live in a place called Driftwood Bay, and
No,
well, there's no water.
anywhere. But anyhow, all the houses out here we all have, with the exception of those who are in city, we all have septic tanks in the front yards.
okay.
So that means all of our houses sit up about 8 feet above the street level because they, one, for flooding because we live in swamps, but two, they got to have a place for the drain field and the septic tank in your front yard. And I come home the other day and the neighbor, for whatever, like when you're trying to move something heavy, like I don't know, a riding lawnmower, a four-wheeler, a motorcycle, you'll oftentimes try to find a hill and then back the truck up to the hill so it kind of acts like a ramp. He was doing this the other day, but they're unloading lawn furniture, so it makes no sense in that. And he backed his truck up on top of the septic drain field, so it wasn't. He really didn't serve a purpose. The bed was not at ground level; it was still 4 feet off the ground. But what he did do, like the Chevy S1500s, they have the metal bumper, and then they got the plastic beauty ring, and then the spoiler at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he backed up the hill, he drug that part and ripped it off completely. So I pull up in the driveway in my Tundra. I'm looking, I'm like, what the and I just see this big shroud of plastic. And
This guy's clearly special.
and they went and unloaded the lawn furniture. Once again, I don't know why he felt the driveway would have served just as well. And he goes and he looks at it. So then he just pulls forward, and I guess it's still connected by two of those plastic. And the thing just kind of goes and falls back in place. I don't know if he got out and zip tied it or not, but I'm just like, why are people so dumb? It's just
I did something dumb a couple of years ago.
what's that?
Unloaded a tread climber, a 250-pound tread climber off a truck by myself.
That's pretty dumb.
I used the leverage of the tailgate, but it worked. I was hurting for a little bit after that, but you know what? Nothing stops me.
We know everybody's moving out of California because, well, California's going fucking crazy. Have you?
And burning down.
Now, we know everybody's going to Texas, but you know who seems to be trying to buy for some of this great flight?
Florida.
South Dakota. Every time I turn on Fox News, the governor of South Dakota is up there running like a tourism campaign, talking about how great South Dakota is, like inviting people to move there. So they're like,
tell us your experience of South Dakota.
I've
Or was
never,
that North Dakota?
North Dakota, never been there, but
I thought you went through.
no, I've driven through South Dakota. No, that's in Fargo. Yeah,
Fargo's in North Dakota.
yeah, Fargo, North Dakota. I'll say that for another show because we're going long. Remind me next week, and we'll get into my travels from Greyhound bus from Ohio to Montana and what happened in North Dakota. But I noticed this, and I'm thinking, I guess great. I really don't hear much about their economy, but they're clearly trying to buy for some of these people leaving. And you say, D-Train, what's going on with California? Why is everybody leaving? Well, if you don't know, a myriad of examples, but here's one. Dateline, Burbank, California. Burbank cracks down on public mask wearing, threatens citations and fines.
I've
Okay.
heard this story.
That's fair enough. But what do you do when the police don't want to enforce your laws?
Well, it depends on how big of a government you're trying to be.
Well, if you're Burbank, California, and you're basically home of NBC and a lot of the filming, starting tomorrow, employees of Warner Brothers and Disney, among others, had better make sure they have their mask on when they venture through Burbank. That's when the city's private enforcement bureau will begin issuing citations and fines for those caught maskless in certain areas of the city.
I don't think that's going to work out for him.
The move to ramp up enforcement comes after Burbank tried to an education campaign in an effort to get people to wear masks, and evidently it hasn't worked. Burbank has signed an agreement with Wilden Engineering. Okay, an engineering firm. Don't see the connection there. To issue the citations. The fines for going maskless are around $100 fine for the first citation, $200 for the second, sorry, and $500 fine for all subsequent citations issued within a 12-month period, according to the Sergeant Derek Green of the Burbank Police Department. Wilden is a consultant firm selling professional, technical, and consulting services to public and private utilities, agencies, and commercial and industrial firms. But from what I understand, since it's not the police writing the citation, there's no legal binding for you to pay it.
Nope. Now, they do something similar out here,
Which,
but they're actually using OSHA.
The enforcement efforts will focus on municipal parks and blah, blah, blah. I read it. Let's see here. Whether Wilden will be on foot or in a vehicle patrol enforcement hasn't been revealed, or whether there will be penalties for refusing to comply with them, and identifying yourself is unclear. However, Burbank Police claims it is largely hands-off enforcement, responding only when needed, and there's no real claim or proof that they can enforce these laws, these tickets.
So if I was in Burbank, California,
Yep.
and I got some schmuck,
Some brown shirt.
civilian, trying to give me a ticket, I would probably say, "Oh, that's cute." Rip it up and throw it at him.
Mm-hmm.
It's unenforceable, dude.
Yeah, you're a brown shirt. Get out of here.
You're nothing.
And this
You
is
cop-
and this is coming 8 months into it now, where the World Health Organization is saying, "Hey, lockdowns."
Yeah, they're like, maybe we shouldn't have locked down. Yeah, it's because the side effect, the collateral damage, as it were, is far fucking worse.
Well, and they're also saying the lockdown was intended, and lockdown should only be used when you're trying to provide relief to your hospitals.
Which we've done.
Yes, and now they're saying, well, and there's always been, even there's
Slippery slope.
Well, there's always footage of even Fauci saying masks don't work, but there was such a political mandate put on it that even he's backpedaled on that. But yeah, it's like,
So you start off with let's keep the pressure off the hospital, and then creeping incrementalism goes into something else, goes into something else, goes into something else. And these are the people you want to fucking vote on. As much as, and I'm going to get on a little rant here,
Please
as much
do.
as Biden wants to have a national mask mandate and saying that the whole thing has been horrible, well, we've put it on the states. And it should be on in the states, because what works in
Federalism.
California don't work in North Dakota.
it's the first time in history.
And they're Democrats. Just
this is-
doing it.
This isn't the first time they've had quarantines in the United States, but this is the first time they quarantined healthy.
Yes, it is. And now you're destroying their mental health. Now you're destroying their financial health. Now you're destroying the health of being able to keep a roof over their head. Why? Because we want to protect you. We are here to protect you. Not one soul should die.
How well did that work in Portland? Government protection.
Yeah, okay, you're bitching about these rallies, but I don't want to hear you bitching about these protests. And by the way, why haven't we seen the protest on the news lately? Is it because it's making a certain party look really bad, and that party is backed by the media? I mean, not to sound like I'm wearing a tinfoil
Hi,
hat.
my name is Tom McDonald. Welcome to the show. If you are easily offended, then you probably should go.
Before we get in the news, I got to get this off my chest.
Get it off your chest.
I
'Cause
can
I've got more than enough to
understand.
Stop.
I can understand the younger generation, like my daughter, who I know which way her freak flag's flying, which is I'm fine with it. I can understand a generation who has been indoctrinated through the school systems. We don't mind the eunuchs. I can understand them, but there's a growing trend that's scaring me with people our age and older. And I first heard this, I was at Dad's house working on a computer, and he had Fox News on, and they had Trump campaign up there. And he said something that the crowd liked. And they said something that made my fucking skin crawl. The entire...
He says a lot.
No, not him. His crowd.
Okay.
The entire tarmac, because he holds these things at the airport, which is great because it doesn't shut down the city. The entire tarmac started chanting, "We love you." it concerns me that a group of citizens profess love for an elected official. And I'm not just jumping on the Trump supporters, because I heard a Biden town hall, and it wasn't the whole crowd, but I heard a few people screaming out, "We love you." And the reason this concerns me is because when you love somebody, you often make irrational decisions without thought, right? And it's one thing to say, we love the president, like when Roosevelt died or when Kennedy died, or, Reagan's in the hospital because some douchebag tried to shoot him. But to stand there and proclaim your love for a fucking elected official, that just scares. There's nothing wrong with respecting a guy or liking a guy, but to sit there and scream, we love you nonstop, it's just, I don't know. To me, that's just weird. It's a little scary.
Yeah, and I don't like either of the two assholes. If I had my druthers, I'd vote for a third party. But unfortunately, I won't. Now, what's also scary out there on the other side is seeing these signs everywhere. Capitalism is the disease. Mm-hmm. Socialism is the cure. How well has that worked for most other companies?
First off, who said you had the fucking permission to even bastardize a quote from Cobra? Okay, the Sly Stallone vehicle. You're bastardizing his. You're the disease. I'm the cure, for starters. But
and it's kids holding up these signs.
Of course it is, because they've been indoctrinated.
And the worst thing is, well, it's just not been done correctly yet. Well, how many fucking times do you got to fail? How many more lives have to be wrecked? Anyway, I'm done with that. I'm ready to go to the news.
Well, before we go to the news, one more thing. I hear these ads are not even put out by Biden. They're put out by some non-affiliated. This isn't one of those, I'm Joe Biden, I support this ad. This was, this ad not paid for by any candidate.
Right.
And they're talking about how, Trump's a tyrant in training, and, we've often heard people claim he's a dictator and this and that, which is complete bullshit. And I understand he likes to feed them shit. But when your fan base, meaning Trump's, conservatives, who are supposed to be down for the cause of the fucking Bill of Rights and the fucking Constitution, how many times have you heard the left say that he would, if he had his druthers, change the term limits to get rid of them, right?
And where is that proven that he said that?
Well, I haven't heard it in the past, but once again, I was standing at Dad's house. No, this was on last night, and I stopped. I was cooking dinner, and I heard this. This came on, and I was like, I actually went back and recorded it with my phone. So at the beginning, you'll hear my birds, but listen to this.
You can't do that. No. So January 1st, it goes into effect. We go out to January 20th. But you know what? I honestly believe, I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. I think we're going to have price transparency. We'll be here for 4 years. And then if we decide to go for an extra 4 or 8 or something.
Now, he could say that's a joke. But he said, I don't think we're going to have a problem. We'll have transparency prices. We'll be here for 4 years, and then maybe another 4 or 8.
When he says we, does he mean maybe the Republican Party?
Hopefully.
That's what my thoughts are.
Yeah,
as
hopefully.
we as in conservatives.
And
right?
I hope
Though I'm not a part of that party, I will say loudly.
I hope he means that, but it could be easily misconstrued
it's already
to him
twisted,
saying,
right?
"Hey, I'm going to be in this bitch for longer."
He.
Yeah, so that's
he.
I don't know. I'm going out and voting tomorrow. Early election in Florida started today. I'm going out to the polls tomorrow and getting it over with. But
it started Saturday for us, but we're going to go on the Monday morning. I'm off.
Carrie did the absentee ballot mail-in. She just sent hers out like a week ago. But I figure I want to.
It gets counted.
Yeah, I want to make sure mine don't get lost in the mail.
Fuck.
But anyhow, news and shit. Now here's Gordon with some news and shit.
Joining us now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, Gordon Abernathy.
Bum, 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 bum.
Well, speaking of something as slimy as politicians.
Ugh. Oh, fuck.
Somebody decided to dump a big old pile of eels in a New York City park.
Electric or standard?
They're calling them swamp eels.
Ugh.
They say, of course, the headline says, this is from the AP, no impact is not yet known. So, New York, Andrew Orkin, probably no relation from the Orkin pest guy, was taking a break from his evening job to sit by Prospect Park Lake when he turned around and was startled to see a tangle of wriggling snakes. He thought it was snakes. And it was a quite big pile, fully alive, according to Orkin, who is a music composer who lives near Brooklyn Park. Don't know why that has anything to do with the story. They turned out to be eels that have escaped from one of two plastic bags that split open as a man dragged them to the shoreline. After dumping the said eels in the lake, the man walked away, explaining to bystanders, "I'm just trying to save lives."
As he left them dying in the street.
They may get COVID. The illegal release last month became a curiosity amongst social media. This is the first time I've heard about it today. So evidently it wasn't that big on social media. But anyway, by dumping the exotic animals into urban parks, this, as we know, this isn't new. I mean, just look at Florida. In cities across the country, non-native birds, turtles, fish, lizards have settled into and often disturb local ecosystems such as the swamplands of Florida. New Yorkers free thousands of non-native animals a year. Let's just wrap your head around that. Thousands of non-native animals a year. Many of them abandoned pets that quickly. Well, they just kind of die, which is very sad.
Yeah, I got someone trying to pawn a dog off on me, but that ain't gonna work.
But others can survive, reproduce, and end up causing lasting harm, such as your iguanas. So people like the animals. They sometimes think they're doing, good thing by letting them go. No, most will die. Some will become a problem. There is no going back. So needless to say, they think it was about 100 of these swamp eels. 100. Where the fuck you get 100 swamp eels? Number one, did he own a pet store?
Probably robbed one.
And this is going to be an issue. So
it's funny you're saying I haven't seen anything on social media, which brings me a thing, not to digress away from your news, but there's a question I was going to ask you anyhow. It's probably on Twitter. And the reason you didn't see it and I didn't see it is because is Twitter for us?
I rarely look at Twitter, to be quite honest.
It seems that Twitter is primarily used by celebrities and media types. I know very few civilians who talk about their Twitter feeds. It seems like the only people I hear talking about Twitter are people on the news, people on TV, or celebrities. And that's why I have a Twitter account and I don't ever go on the damn thing because it's just, I don't know. The content sucks. But I just don't know if Twitter's for the unwashed masses. It's almost like it's an echo chamber for the elite. Because we always read these quotes from politicians and celebrities. It always comes from Twitter, not Facebook. Anytime you hear a politician or a celebrity up on their soapbox, which is ironic because they have a text cap on Twitter, why wouldn't you do it on Facebook where you can write for fucking days? But all those quotes and screenshots always come from Twitter.
But didn't they extend the text limit on Twitter?
I wouldn't know. I don't use it. I have an account. I got 1,500 followers, but I don't. If I do, usually I'll post on there once a week, and it's the same exact thing I post on Facebook, which is the update of what this week's show's about.
I don't know. Whatever I see on Twitter, I don't say they tweeted. They usually twatted.
Well, and that the irony. Why is it called Twitter? Because of the old saying when old housewives and the gossip around the neighborhood, they were all a Twitter.
They're all in a Twitter.
Okay, well then why do we
Look at them ladies?
Why do we give tweets so much goddamn? Why does the media hold them up to such high standards? Oh, he said on Twitter. Who gives a shit?
Exactly. Who gives a shit?
They give Twitter and tweets just way too much. It's almost like every single tweet from a celebrity or a politician is just as good if it was put up on the front page of Wall Street Journal and New York Times.
All it is editorials, right?
I don't know.
Not even well written. All right. The mail industry has taken a beating lately, right?
Mail stripper industry?
No, mail as in post office. USPS.
I'm seeing these commercials talking about how great they are because they're trying to do damage control.
Well, evidently a mailman has done something quite. He was a great citizen. I'll just put it that way. He rescues a man in a chainsaw accident.
Ew.
So Norwalk, California, again from the AP. A mailman is on his route in Southern California who helped the other man who accidentally cut his arm with a chainsaw last week. I tell you what, chainsaws have always scared shit out of me.
Our aunt did that. She put a chainsaw right in her leg one time.
Yeah. USPS serviceman Fernando Garcia was wrapping up his shift in Norwalk when he heard a loud scream from a nearby house before rushing to the home to help. He said he found the man with a cut on his arm. He used his belt as a tourniquet and stayed with the man until the ambulance arrives.
Wasn't there a thing about 10
managed-
years ago about why you shouldn't use a tourniquet?
I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of use of tourniquets lately on these, crazy, horrible right-wing survival stuff I've been watching lately.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's that. But still, in California, a woman falls into Lake Tahoe. She drowns, and 6 kids on the boat were rescued.
That's not funny.
So mom was with 6 kids, or we're assuming is her children. I'm doubting that. In Zephyr Cove, authorities in northern Nevada, I apologize, that's my state, said a woman drowned after falling off the boat carrying 6 children on Lake Tahoe, and a man who jumped off the boat to try to rescue her had to be hospitalized for severe hypothermia. So I know you're from a warm weather state. The water is like bath water. You've probably never been in an alpine lake before. I'll tell you from experience, that shit is cold.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Usually about 45, 55 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's one of the deepest lakes in the world, fresh water. So you can only imagine. Anyway, the Tahoe Douglas Fire District said the incident occurred last Friday in Zephyr Cove on the east side of the lake after the woman and man went into the water. The boat with its children just drifted there for a while. The district said one of the boat crews rescued the children in the middle of the lake, and they were unhurt. So no identities were released. But, yeah. And then remember back to the beginning of the COVID?
Yeah,
What was
many,
the
many
biggest
years
thing out
ago.
there? What was the biggest thing going on in streaming?
I don't even remember.
Tiger King.
Oh, yeah, Tiger King. Yeah, how could I have forgot?
Yeah. That was what everybody, I mean.
Yeah, no, I
we're
watched
watching the world burn. We might as well watch this burn too. So Dominoes this is coming from Las Vegas KNTV. The dominoes keep falling for the Tiger King characters. More going down at a pair.
You don't say. That group of stand-up people?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, jeez.
So,
everybody, even the poor chick who got her arm ripped off, even though she was Hispanic, they were all white trash to the highest order. Every single one of them. There was just a who's who of trailer trash on that goddamn show.
well, Jeff Lowe has been tossed from the park.
You don't say.
Arguably. I know. Isn't it?
Well, didn't Carol
That
Baskin
bitch, Carol
win?
Baskins, yes.
Yep, she won right still all.
Yep. Arguably, he has excellent breeding lines of tigers. And whether you think the tiger should be bred or captive or not, he still treats the animals first class. I think it's pretty much put out there that he treats them like shit. That's how magician Jay Owenhouse describes, actually, Doc.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy with the
Doc
harem of
Antle.
women.
Yep. And to an investigator here in town. So Owen House had just won the approval from the county commission to stage a magic show using the tigers in the 10 on the Strip. That week, Antle was indicted in Virginia for cruelty to animals. So he was indicted. Tim Stark was arrested, and Jeff Lowe was tossed from the park. So we see that shit show is still
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
ain't that the truth. And that is what I have for news today.
No worries. Oh, it's getting late. Sadly, I may have to go to the vet. I think Loki has come to the end of his life cycle, but I'll update you guys on that next week.
It's been a rough year for you guys with this.
Yeah. Basically, he hasn't. As you all know, he went blind a few months back for the last few days. For the last few weeks, when he's not sleeping, he's just walking in circles and waking us up screaming all night. But now he's not eating and not drinking, and his circles have become so nonstop that it's apparent to me that he's not doing it voluntarily. It's like his body's on autopilot, and so yeah, and the fact that he's not eating and all that, it's come down to a quality of life issue, and so that's where we're at. So we have to deal with that. Gordon, where can people find you?
Aegis 1974 on Instagram and Gordon at D410 on Facebook.
And as always, you can find this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast at whatsinyourhead.com. Please head over to whatsinyourhead.com or d-410.com. Click on that Patreon link. Sign up for Patreon. We need to get a new episode of the OG5 podcast up there and some exclusive video content going here real soon, Gordon. But please head over to d-410.com. You can also click on the social link, and you can find all of our social media pages. And please, if you haven't done so, head over to youtube.com. Look for Digital 410 YouTube channel. Some of you guys are streaming live there now. And please like and subscribe. And as always, we will see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And thank you for dealing with all of our schedule changes. But hopefully you find that the new Monday show is more conducive with your lifestyle. And remember, if you never get out of your comfort zone, you'll never get out of bed. So get up, challenge yourself, and enjoy life.
This has been a Digital 410 production.